welcome to the ASMR Learning Centre. Do you know if you're here for anything in particular, anything specific, or would you just like to find out about the various courses that we have on offer? If you'd like to find out about courses, great. Okay, do you have an account with us, or would you like me to set one up for you? I'm going to set one up, okay. Right, brilliant, just give me a sec. I will get this thing going. Okay, just wait for that to wind up while we are. Can I get you a drink of anything? Water, tea, coffee? That's about it, I think. Milk? What is that? You okay? Okay, that's fine. Right, we're in. So, let's start off with first name. Richard. And last name? Head. Okay. And your address? Okay. Is that lane or road? Road, okay. And postcode? 3PV, okay. Right, it might be rude to say, but your date of birth, if that's possible? Okay, 23rd of June 1984, you say, okay. Right, I think, oh, no, email address, please, email address, okay. Richard underscore head 23 at gmail.com. Okay, brilliant. Right, that's all set up. So I think the best thing to do would just be to go through the list of courses that we have, explain the sort of things that they involve, and see if you'll be interested in them. Does that sound good? Great, okay. Okay, so just looking down the list that I have here. The first one that comes up is our history courses. We have a whole category ranging a range of vast and broad subjects. Would you be interested in those? You are? Okay, brilliant. I'll just go through them in order, and then you can decide if any of them pique your curiosity, intrigue you in any way. Okay, brilliant. Right, so the first one is history of Egyptians. So that encompasses from all the way from the beginnings of Egypt to the first leaders of Egypt, the pharaohs, and to the making of the Great Pyramids, all the way up to the fall of Egypt and its eventual demise and fall from grace, if you like. Does that interest you at all, maybe? Possibly. Okay, so shall we put that one down as a maybe? I'll just bring up a new note over here. Okay, Egyptians, maybe, question mark, okay. Right, next one is one that everyone knows about, of course, the Romans. So, the start of the entire Roman Empire, obviously, it begins with the founding of Rome. Obviously, everyone knows the story of Romulus and Remus, so it goes into details about that. Founding of the Roman Republic quite a few years on from that, so between the development of Rome and various different innovations they made, because obviously they were centuries possibly ahead of their time at that particular time. And then that moves on to the time of Julius Caesar, around the time of Christ, that sort of period, all the way leading up to the fall of the Roman Empire, and again how they sort of fell to bits. And it will go into details about their battle techniques and their social life and how they interact as a community, you know. So, would that interest you at all? More than likely not. Okay. Yeah, everyone has heard of the Romans at least a little bit, so I can understand why that's less interesting to you. Okay. Right, so the next one that comes up is the Battle of Hastings around that time. Okay, straight. That just doesn't interest you at all. Okay. No problem at battle. Okay, no. Okay. So what's next on our list? So Henry VIII, the Tudors. It's just your eyes lit up a little bit there. So is that interesting to you? Yeah. Okay. So it starts off with it begins sort of a brief background about the War of the Roses and Henry VII, and it gives him information about him before moving on to Henry and his growth as a child, how he developed as a person and what he did to grow and mature himself, about his hunting and sporting, all these sort of attributes to him that no one, or not as many people, know about his later life. And then that obviously moves on to his love life, his 6 wives, and how he became known as the sort of the tyrant, the evil man that everyone so knows him, with the fat, big clothing that everyone sees in all the traditional pictures of him. So, would that interest you at all? Okay, so that will put that one down as a strong possibility. So it's Henry VIII. Strong. Okay. So now we jump forward a bit to go to the time of the pirates, which is quite a fun one. Learning about all the famous pirates that everyone's heard of in the stories and the films and all this. Learning about not just the things that everyone knows about how they went around and plundering ships, but also sort of their gatherings, their social sort of circles, and how they ran their lives outside of being pirates, so to speak. No, not interested. Okay, no problem. Pirates, no. Okay, so now we move on to the Industrial Revolution around the time of the Victorians, and include some detail about Queen Victoria herself and just the different technological and mechanical and breakthrough of ideas and just different innovations that people coming up at the time. The creation of the phones, the trains, railways, and electricity discovered all around this time. There were massive advancements in the fields of science as well as technology and architecture, building of new grand structures and railways, obviously, as I mentioned. That doesn't interest you? Okay, no problem at all. Okay, and the last 2 items we have on our list are sort of joined into one, which is the World Wars. So we've got World War One, obviously, 1914 to 1918, and the Second World War, 39 to 45. So it gives quite a lot of detailed information actually about the build-up to both of the wars, sort of mitigating circumstances that led to the start of the First and the Second World War, about some information about the Nazis and Hitler before he became involved in sort of the running of the Nazi Party, and how his ideas and ideologies there we go, evolved and how they came to be, because obviously he didn't go from being a fairly normal person who actually fought in the First World War to being this utter maniac that everyone knows him as. So, and it obviously gives the information about the wars themselves, the different battles and the conflicts and the different machinery involved, so the different guns and aircraft and different tactics and tanks that are involved in the wars themselves. So that'd be interesting to you. Okay, so World Wars possibly. Okay, so this history package, you sort of liked sort of 50-50 of it. Yeah, you'd say about that 50-50. So the whole package itself costs a grand total of £149.99. So yeah, it is a fair amount for not liking it. So if it's good if you like the whole course and the whole thing interests you because for what you're getting, that is incredibly good value. But if you're not into the whole thing, Yeah, I can understand. So, it's going to be a no for the history course. Okay, no problem. So, going down the list, the next one is science. Yeah, they're not in alphabetical order. I believe they're in order of popularity. At least that's what I'd assume. So, history must be our most popular category. So next is science. So now this is broken up into sections again. We've got biology, chemistry and physics as sort of the main sort of subcategories, and they're broken up into different sections. So yeah, you buy each subcategory individually, so you buy biology or chemistry or physics. So do any of these sort of interest you at all? Biology, okay, right. Let's have a look at biology, okay. So the first topic is human anatomy. So it's a fairly basic introduction to the anatomy of the body, ranging from the head to the toes and everything in between. So it teaches you all the scientific terminology, all the different prefixes and suffixes and joining them, various Latin-based words, what they all mean and where they all come from. And it obviously teaches you where different things are in the body and what they all do and their functions to a certain extent. Most of that is covered in physiology, which is another topic, but it sort of gives a basic idea of that. And it teaches you different techniques to remember them, because there is hundreds and thousands of words to remember. So it gives some helpful hints and tips along the way, and it includes, as I said, I forgot to mention, all our courses include videos with transcripts and subtitles, practice questions if you want them, various tests, just mini quizzes just to help you along the way. We have our own app that includes flashcards and different sort of graphs and different images and helpful ways to learn. We try to cover a whole spectrum of learning. So that's included in anatomy, and then the next topic is more to do with plants. So things like photosynthesis and plant respiration and how they grow and how the cell structure of plants and the whole sort of gross, which is large structure of the plants and how they interact, because they have their own communities and habitats, and how they change and evolve themselves to meet their habitats and even change their environment around them to suit their own needs, and how they've all adapted to compete with each other. So for instance, some plants will sort of grow around other plants, so they sort of encapsulate them and suck off their nutrients and steal their sunlight in order to gain more nutrients from the environment. And obviously, I assume you may have heard of fly-trapped plants. So they sit there with their leaves like curled up, and they wait until an insect or a fly lands on them, and it closes quickly, and it traps them, and then they break the insect down to gain the nutrients that way. So that's animals. Sorry, that's plants. The next one is animals, and that includes a vast spectrum of information from all of the corners of the globe. So it includes from the various mammals, so the elephants and the lions and the giraffe from the African plains, all the way to the penguins of the, is it the Arctic or the Antarctic the penguins are in? I'm not sure, but penguins in the cold environments to it's just a whole range and spectrum of animals that it encompasses. And then lastly, it just sort of the basics of biology and physiology and how the human body works. So the basics of respiration and metabolism, how we break down food, and how we basically just how we survive, really. So those are all the topics that are included in our biology course. think that you'd be interested or no? Price. The price for this one is £99.99, so it's about £30 cheaper than the history course. Okay, so this one's a maybe, so I will mark this one as a maybe. Okay, right. The next course we have is a language course. Yes, so this one is also, like science and history, a fairly popular course. And this one does include a range of languages. So we've got different different categories of languages to choose from. Each one includes, I believe it's 3 languages. The first one is German. I just have to find it. German, Swedish, and Dutch. That's the first one. And then we have Portuguese, Latin, and Greek, so that's more of an ancient topic. And then we have French, Spanish, and Italian. That one interests you? Okay, right. So if you buy this package, it's $99.99, and it includes videos with all the added on bonus transcripts and subtitles and all this. It begins with French, so it teaches you the basics of French. So it's starting at point, so hello, thank you, goodbye, and all the basic words you need to know. It tells you how to say your name and ask where different places and things are. So important places of interest like the toilet or a cafe or a shop or a supermarket or just things like that. And it's the same for both Spanish, which is next, and Italian. And it's quite a simple one. It includes the tutor, the language tutor, sitting there with a whiteboard, writing down and showing you, and then it will help you that way with the pronunciation and the spelling both at the same time. So we found that was the most effective way to teach our students from the feedback we got, to learn the basics of the language. And some people who have gone on to study these languages on one of our more in-depth courses, or gone even to an established institution such as a university or a college in order to progress their learning. And we have one person who has actually moved out and become a tutor of Spanish in I believe it was Canada. They moved out, so it is a good way of beginning a potentially lifelong interest in the language or the culture, because there's obviously all the cultural aspects behind the language. So would that be of interest to you today? It would. Okay, so do you want to hear about any of our other courses? We have a few more that I could go through if you would like me to. One is sport and the history of sport and sort of the physiology behind that. No? Okay. We have a geography course. Not interested? Okay, no problem. So we have a few others, but shall we just go with it? Okay, we'll go with the language, of course. Okay, definitely be French, Spanish, and Italian for you today. Okay, fantastic. Right. If you just give me a second, I will sort out that. Mr. Richard here. And it's just one copy. Yeah, but you can use it on a multitude of devices. I mean, they will give you a CD and the password and the key code that you need to download it from our online store, so that you can download it onto your laptops and phones, smartphones, and all this. So you can have it, and it can be used by all your whole family if you want to. You can only use it on one device at a time, but as long as you're not all trying to learn French at once, then yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so I need to put in some payment details for you. So have you got? Yeah, you've got it. Okay, brilliant. So if I could just ask for your card number straight away, okay? Right, brilliant. Thank you. Okay. Yep. Fantastic. Okay. And is the card holder's name written as your name? As Mr. R. Head. Okay, brilliant. And when's the expiry date for that? 5th of 2019. Okay. And what is the security code? The CV. Okay. Yeah, so 3 numbers on the last 3 numbers on the back. Okay. 706. Okay. Fantastic. Right. So just to double check one more time, you understand what's involved in the package, and you understand how you can use it and what you're going to receive today and all that. Okay. And you understand that you can only use it on one device at a time, and that it must not be copied and shared and sold onto third parties, because we own all the copyright to our material. Okay, fantastic. Right, let's just finish off the last bits of this order. Okay, that's done and completed. I'll just wait for a little bit for a confirmation. Should come through any second now. Okay, there it is. Fantastic. So, you are now the proud owner of our language course, French, Spanish and Italian. So that's everything that we have to do here today. If on your way out you go and have a word with our receptionist, he'll give you the CD and the DVDs and the discs that are involved in installing the software onto your computer, as well as a welcome guide and manual of setup, instruction booklet, and all the keys and codes that you need to download the software from our website. Okay, fantastic. Right, so that's all we have to do today, and I hope that you enjoy the course and that we will be doing business with you again very soon. So thank you very much. I hope you have a lovely day. Bye bye.